Sapir bin Sirah. Mushli bin Sirah. Chukmat bin Sirah. The wisdom of Jesus, the son of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus. The book of Ecclesiasticus is really the crown of Hebrew wisdom literature, and by all the rules of reason should have been included in the canon, even its 2nd century date being early enough to have permitted it, but it lacked the prestige of a great name which saved Daniel, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Songs, and this one defect was fatal to its claims. Well, there's 83 prophets that are listed as killed among the Israelites, and a bunch of others, mostly unnamed, that weren't killed. So not being one of the more famous ones, isn't really fair. But existing at the start of Judaism by name is an important feature. A prologue made by an uncertain author. This Jesus was the son of Sirach. Wrong answer. Sirach. The grandchild to Jesus of the same name with him. This man therefore lived in the latter times, and after the people had been led away captive and called home again, and almost after all the prophets. Now his grandfather, Jesus, as he himself witnessed, was a man of great diligence and wisdom among the Hebrews, who did not only gather the grave and short sentences of wise men that had been before him, but himself also uttered some of his own, full of much understanding and wisdom. When, as therefore the first Jesus died, leaving this book almost perfected, Sirach his son, receiving it after, left it to his own son Jesus, who, having gotten it into his hands, compiled it all orderly into one volume, and called it Wisdom, entitling it both by his own name and his father's name, and his grandfather's, alluring to the hearer by the very name of wisdom, to have a greater love to the study of this book. It containeth therefore wise sayings, dark sentences, things obscured by symbolism, right? And parables, and certain particular ancient godly stories of men that pleased God. Also his prayer and song, moreover, what benefits divinity had vouchsafed his people, and what plagues he had heaped upon their enemies. This Jesus did imitate Shlomo, and was no less famous for wisdom and learning, both being indeed a man of great learning, and so reputed also. Now, I don't know which variation of Yahusha or something like that. All wisdom cometh from the Lord. All wisdom cometh from God as noun and verb, and is with him forever. Who can number the sand of the sea, and the drops of rain, and the days of eternity? Who can find out the height of the heaven, and the breadth of the earth, and the deep and wisdom? Wisdom hath been created before all things, and the understanding of prudence from everlasting. The word of divinity most high is the fountain of wisdom, and her ways are everlasting commandments. We're not calling God female either. To whom hath the root of wisdom been revealed, or who hath known her wise counsels? Unto whom hath the knowledge of wisdom been made manifest? And who hath understood her great experience? There is one wise and greatly to be feared. God is noun and verb, sitting upon his throne. Well, that implies that God would be supported by the throne, but perhaps situated or established or something like that, more befitting to transcendence, is actually being said there. Of course, you can look at it metaphorically too. He created her and saw her and numbered her and poured her out upon all his works. She is with all flesh according to his gift, and he hath given her to them that love him. The fear of God as noun and verb is honor and glory and gladness, and a crown of rejoicing. The fear of God as noun and verb maketh a merry heart, and giveth joy and gladness and a long life. Whoso feareth God as a noun and verb, it shall go well with him at the last, and he shall find favor in the day of his death. To fear God as a noun and verb is the beginning of wisdom, and it was created with the faithful in the womb. She hath built an everlasting foundation with men, and she shall continue with their seed. To fear God as noun and verb is fullness of wisdom, and filleth men with her fruits. She filleth all their house with things desirable, and the garners with her increase. The fear of God as noun and verb is a crown of wisdom, making peace and perfect health to flourish, both which are the gifts of divinity, and it enlargeth their rejoicing that love him. Wisdom raineth down skill and knowledge of understanding, and exalteth them to honor that hold her fast. The root of wisdom is to fear God as noun and verb, and the branches thereof are long life. Doesn't this kind of remind you of Job and Proverbs at the same time? Honor a physician. Honor a physician with honor due unto him, for the uses which ye may have of him. For God as a noun and verb hath created him, for of the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king. The skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration. God as noun and verb hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. Was not the water made sweet with wood, that the virtue thereof might be known? And he hath given men skill, that he might be honored in his marvelous works. With such doth he heal, and taketh away their pains. Of such doth the apothecary make a confection, and of his works there is no end, and from him is peace over all the earth. My son, in thy sickness be not negligent, but pray unto God as noun and verb, and he will make thee whole. Leave off from sin, and order thine hands aright, and cleanse thy heart from all wickedness. Give a sweet savor, and a memorial of fine flour, and make a fat offering as not being. Then give place to the physician, for God as noun and verb hath created him. Let him not go from thee, for thou hast need of him. There is a time when in their hands there is a good success, for they shall also pray unto God as noun and verb, that he would prosper that which they give for ease and remedy to prolong life. He that sinneth before his Maker, let him fall into the hands of the physician. The pride of the height, the pride of the height, the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven, with his glorious show, the sun when it appeareth, declaring at his rising a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. At noon it parcheth the country, and who can abide the burning heat thereof? A man blowing a furnace is in works of heat, but the sun burneth the mountains 3 times more, breathing out fiery vapors, and sending forth bright beams. It dimmeth the eyes Great is. God is a noun and verb that made it. And at his commandment it runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her season, for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feasts. A light decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasingly wonderful in her changing. Bring an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven, the beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of God is noun and verb. At the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order, and never faint in their watches. Look upon the rainbow and praise him that made it. Very beautiful it is in the brightness thereof. It compasseth the heaven about with a glorious circle, and the hands of the Most High have bended it. By his commandment he maketh the snow to fall apace, and sendeth swiftly the lightnings of his judgment. Through this the treasures are opened, and the clouds fly forth as fowls. But by his great power he maketh the clouds firm, and the hailstones are broken small. At his sight the mountains are shaken. At his will the south wind bloweth. The noise of the thunder maketh the earth to tremble. So doth the northern storm and the whirlwind. As birds flying he scattereth the snow, and the falling down thereof is as the lighting of grasshoppers. The eye marvelleth at the beauty of the whiteness thereof, and the heart is astonished at the raining of it. The hoarfrost also as salt he poureth on the earth, and being congealed, it lieth on the top of sharp stakes. When the cold north wind bloweth, and the water is congealed into ice, it abideth upon every gathering together of water, and clotheth the water as with a breastplate. It devoureth the mountains, and burneth the wilderness, and consumeth as the grass is fire. A present remedy of all is a mist coming speedily, a dew coming after heat, refresheth. And now mismanagement of the forest